Pew 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 pew. So no, I just my brother was watching it was a Korean movie. But I already saw that Korean movie. I mean, not movie, show, and it was really funny where the guy go pew pew pew, and then he was like pew, and then he winked his eye. Anyway, today we'll be talking about theory versus facts. Right now, in order, so here's the thing. I was thinking, right? How can I be able to get people to change their way of thinking and change their way of behaviors and results? Well, it's not that easy because it's we've been conditioned to believe in a lot of theories. In essence, technically, it is a theory more like a facts too, because those theories did not become a fact yet until you actually prove it to be either wrong or false or true. But the problem is, people, when if you think about it, you have a whole life that your past made who you are, right? But in essence, the past was incorporated with a lot of your environment, the people you associate with, the television, the movie that you watch, and all these stuff become part of you, right? So now you have an ingrained belief and habit within your mind. I can tell you right now, if I observe people who talk about certain things and they'll behave a certain way because it's how how they see the world. Therefore, they act upon that theory or belief, and they'll act it as if it was true. And it's based upon the condition and the repetition over and over again in the brain. And it is the lens which you see the world, right? And by changing our lens to see a different perspective is not easy. If I push you to believe in a certain way, if you have this certain thing that you believe, it's a little bit hard. I cannot change you unless you uh, change yourself. But usually people who come on here are a little bit more open-minded. But if not, that's okay. If you get offended, you can click off this. But in order to change your life, we have to take the theory that we learn, that we intellectualize, and make it into a practice, if you will, and turn it into a fact. So let's say, if for the law of attraction community people, if they ever learn this, is instead of reading all, I mean, yeah, you can read and you can learn deeper into the law of attraction, which I highly recommend. But when it comes to writing your goal down, it's just that it hasn't become part of you yet. Like, for instance, I do have like people who I want to interview. I wrote it down, and I know I'm gonna achieve it because I take massive action. So when it comes to visualization, it must become a burning desire, and then you go on and act on that idea, and it change your end results. That's what you want to do. You want to change your end results, right? So in order to change your end results, you have to change the way you input information and take action. All right, so action can be anything, but action is based on doing it and failing, because you're going to fail. Action is not, see, theory is good and all, but it doesn't scare you. It's just there, and you can spew opinions and theories until you act on that fact and until you experiment to see it for yourself. Then it becomes, that's how you take a piece of knowledge. A piece of knowledge is just a theory. Until you take that piece of knowledge and you transfer it into action and become a fact, and you see it with your own eyes. So for instance, let's say in the law of attraction community, they read books like How to Use Vibration, Law of Attraction, Visualization, Vision Board, writing their goal down, and they visualize and they try to amp up their vibration. What they should do is understand to emotionalize it, conceptualize it and believe that it's going to happen, and then they go out and act on that idea, and it's going to be uncomfortable, and fear going to hit you. Every time you try to test out your theory, you're going to have a little bit uncomfortable and fear. So you're going to be uncomfortable. You got to do that. Like, for instance, I got to give you something to play around with. For instance, if I go out and talk to people and communicate, what do I usually do? Well, sometimes I feel like it, sometimes I don't feel like it, so it depends on my mood. But let's say if I'm a good mood, well, I'm always in a good mood, but you know. But let's say I want to talk to people. What I do is, let's say if just mundane general stuff, like let's say it's Halloween, and then I talk about Halloween and stuff, it goes on, but then I try to find the commonality between the subject that they like, and I talk about that subject, and I remember their name, right? Because people like to talk about themselves. That's one of the thing. Or selling skills. And I'm not a salesman, but everybody's a salesperson in their own way. So let's say if you learn follow up, right? Follow up. What was it? I forgot what's the other one. I can't remember. I'm only good with follow ups. If you get rejected, you have to counter it, right? So what I do, let's say if people say, because people are busy, right? They can't remember you. So what I do is I follow up. I keep following up. That's why I follow up on Twitter. I'm not, see, I know that they're gonna get annoyed, but I don't really care. I believe in their message, so I need to get their message out there. So that's why I do it. Same thing as when I do Lennon Honor. I keep emailing him because even though I want to give up, I believe in his message. Like selling, you have to believe in what you do and what you sell and what you believe in your product. Because otherwise, if you don't believe in your product, you won't convince or close people on that. And it's not always easy. Reading. People read, how to speed read, but they just have it in their mind. They know it. See, the thing with knowing is, it's just a theory. Knowing is just, oh wait, I know it, right? But until you take, let's say you read a book on how to speed read, until you take that and apply it into your reading, then it's just become a theory instead of a fact. Like, for instance, you read books on how the brain works. Great. You know how the human brain works, like 100 billion brain cells. You have the left and the right hemisphere of the brain. There's a connecting link between both brain communications. And you learn that you can use both sides of the hemisphere to learn. It's called whole brain learning. And then you put on music, soft music, where when you start to read or learn, it go absorb much more better. Because when you listen to music, you read, what happens is, have you ever noticed when you emotionalize things more better, you remember more? Or when something happens, tragic happens, you remember that so powerful than just the repetition, because you add emotion to it. Motion, association, our brain is, in order to remember, you have to have ridiculous association to the brain cells, the neurons, and you go out and act on that idea. Same thing with building new brain cells. You have to keep repeating it and recalls and bring it out to the surface, right? Yeah, so that's the theories and fact between a theory and a fact. Opinions aren't, I think because sometimes opinions and theory become a confirmation bias. Confirmation bias, you go seeking the same belief, your existing belief. That's why they have, people have groups, because they have a confirmation bias. They believe like this, the same thing as the law of attraction, confirmation bias. They will disagree what the other person says because they're not open-minded, because they let confirmation bias control them. So what you should do is understand how your mind works and how the world works, and be able to understand how to use these principles in your life. Because in essence, let's say I teach you, well, the law of cause and effect. How can we use the laws of cause and effect in our life? we understand that Newton's third law: for every action, there's an equal and opposite reaction, right? And how can we do that? Well, if your life is not working and you're not using the knowledge that's been given to you, how can we incorporate that in our life? Well, we cannot change the effect, right? We cannot change the effect. We cannot. That's impossible. But what we can do is change the cause. And the cause is us. So people become a victim. Let's say the victim mentality, right? They become a victim in their own life. They can blame everyone else. They blame the effect instead of blaming themselves. Instead of taking responsibility for themselves, they blame on the. But the external world does not have the control. There's where law of correspondence come in. As within, as without. The world within we have control. So we must change the cause, and the cause is us. Your cause is the external world. As within, you're working from the inside to the outside. You're working from an inner world that is filled with vibrant imagination, powerful energy force. That's see, it's the kabbalion and all the spiritual laws and mental laws work together, and that if you can understand and tap these things, it work all simultaneously, as within, so without. See, it's the same thing. If you work your inner world, you begin to vibrate at a higher level. Therefore, it's the same thing. It's all working. As law of attract is the same thing. Law of vibration and law of attraction. Um, Law of cause and effect. Laws of effect. Laws of cause and effect. Laws of correspondence. It's all working with each other. So if you want to get the cause, if you want to change the effect, you must change the cause. As you change the cause, you change the effect. First, you must change you. So as you change you, you start to change your environment, who you hang on with or social with. You start to change your mind. You got to change your mind in order to change the world. You got to change the way you input information to change the reality that you have. It's about changing your perception. So all these ideas that you listen to, every great idea, it must lead to some type of action. For instance, if I talk about using YouTube or Twitter or Instagram, you must like these are all tactics, but you must like. I think learning tactic is great, but if it doesn't lead to action, it's just going to remain to theory. So you must be able to push yourself a little bit to use that knowledge to improve your end results. So that's pretty much it for my take on theory versus oh yeah, and also it's like if you understand the conscious mind and the subconscious mind, right? You like you practice it. You send an idea to the subconscious, and then you keep sending it, and then until it become, because your subconscious mind must accept your idea, while the conscious mind only it can reject any idea that is given. The same thing, if someone tell you something that you don't believe, you can reject it, but you must keep pouring, because if you think about it, your subconscious mind is like a mold. It's like a cup. You keep pouring the water in, it become a fixed idea and become a habit, and you act on that idea and vibrate out, sending out powerful surge of energy, and you attract into your life. So that's pretty much it that I have today. Subscribe to my channel, like my video, because I will be talking about personal development, book reviews, interviews, and stuff like that. And I'll see you next time. Bye bye.